Yeah, hi everyone. I hope you're well today, whatever time it is for you, wherever you are on our planet. I hope you're keeping calm mind, positive attitude, good intentions. So now be mindful, aware, and conscientious as we recite the Buddhist verses. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami. Tatayampi Buddham saranam gacchami. Tatayampi Dhammam saranam gacchami. Tatayampi Sangham saranam gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I'm enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from the happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this. Great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every types of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayata Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Soha. Tayata Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Soha. Tayatam gate gate paragate parasam gate bodhi soha. So meditation time. Get yourself in a comfortable position to release the tension from your body. And as you do so, as you know, you are going to release the tension from your mind too. So bring your mind to your body, starting from the bottom of your body, from the tips of the toes, up your feet, lower legs, upper legs, midsection, your upper torso, to your shoulders, down to the tips of your fingers, then up to your neck, and all around your head to the top of your head. And now scan your body once more to see if you can release any more tension. And now bring your focus initially to the tip of your nose to focus on the feeling of the breath as you breathe in your nose, past your throat, chest area, all the way into your lungs. The lungs expand as they fill with air and compress as you breathe out. You may notice as well as you breathe in on the back of your throat, the air is quite cool, and as you breathe out, it's quite warm as it passes your throat, out your nose. Breathing in, breathing out. That's all we have to do right now. Let go of dwelling on the past, whether that be from your own perspective, positive feelings, negative feelings, indifferent feelings, thoughts. Just let it go. It's gone. And the future never arrives. Because when it comes to what we think is the future, it becomes the present. So do your best to keep your mind seamlessly and gently on your breath, placed on your breath, in the present moment. Breathing in, breathing out. Maybe I can remind you that breathing is the most important physical thing that we do. Of course, to survive physically, we have to eat and drink, shelter, clothe ourselves to protect ourselves from the elements. But the breathing is the only thing we have to do constantly. Breathing in, breathing out. So we are focusing, placing our mind on the feeling of the most important thing that we do. Also focusing on the breath has the tendency to bring the mind inside the body and help us to let go of dwelling on the past and planning for the future. Help us to let go of any distractions outside or inner distractions as well. So if any thoughts arise or any mental activity arises, don't cling to it. Don't grasp at it. Don't try to force it away or deny it, but let it go naturally by replacing the mind back onto the breath. This is the process. Trust in the process, in the method. Trust in your abilities, in yourself. And if your mind starts to become dull or sleepy, then wake it up a little bit by refocusing on your breath more brightly. And I will remind you that now that we're doing the breath meditation and also the loving kindness meditation, that you should do your best to keep your body still. This will help you to keep your mind still, and vice versa. So let's practice like this now in silence for a few minutes. So now you can feel very pleased with yourself and fill yourself with universal loving kindness, with the Metta. Kariniya Metta Sutta, the Buddha's words on universal loving kindness. This is the word for those who are skilled and peaceful, who seek the good, May they be able and upright, honest, of gentle speech and not proud. May they be content and easily supported, unburdened with their senses calmed. May they be wise and not arrogant, and without desire for the possessions of others. May they do nothing mean or that the wise would reprove. May all sentient beings be happy. May they live in safety and joy. All sentient beings, whether weak or strong, great or small, short or tall, seen or unseen, near or distant, born or to be born, may they all be happy. Let no one deceive or despise another being in any state. Let none by anger or hatred wish harm upon another. Just as a mother would protect her only child with her life, even so let one cultivate a boundless love towards all sentient beings. Let one radiate that boundless love towards the entire world, above and below and in all directions, without hindrance, without ill will, without enmity. Standing or walking, sitting or lying down, during all one's waking hours, may one remain mindful of this heart and this way of living that is the best in the world. Unattached to speculations, views, and sense desires, with clear vision, such a person will never be reborn in the cycles of suffering. So now you can radiate this love and kindness out to others as well. Initially to your loved ones, your family and friends. Filling them with the universal loving kindness too. May they be happy. May they have the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and free from the causes of suffering. And may they be peaceful. Now radiate further and further. Now it also includes strangers, those people that you may know a little bit or not at all. They're kind of indifferent towards. No or very little attachment, or no or very little aversion towards. May they also have happiness and the causes of happiness, be free from suffering and the causes of suffering, and be peaceful. And now also include those that you may find very difficult, don't like, may even regard as enemies. Fill them with loving kindness too, and have the wish and aspiration that they are, or they have happiness and the causes of happiness, that they are free from suffering and the causes of suffering, and that they are peaceful. Now let's gradually radiate this love and kindness out further and further, distance-wise. Initially around your immediate area to all living beings, whether you know about them or not. The ones that are or do live on the land or under the land, in the waters, fly through the air, born from wombs, born from eggs, born from moisture, or through transformation. May all of these sentient beings have happiness. May they live in safety and joy. All these sentient beings, whether weak or strong, great or small, short or tall, seen or unseen, near or distant, born or to be born, may they all be happy, have the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering, and may they be at peace. Kind of like a tidal wave of loving kindness now. Your loving kindness gathers more momentum as it spreads out further and further throughout your state until your loving kindness pervades throughout your whole state or county. and fills all of the living beings, the innumerable living beings, with universal loving kindness. And now also include other states and counties, those that you are familiar with, have an affinity towards, as well as those that you may be indifferent towards, and also those that you may, for whatever reason, whatever time, you may have some negative feelings towards, until your loving kindness pervades throughout your whole country. And throughout other countries, throughout the whole world. Once again, initially those that you have an affinity towards, maybe you have lived there, maybe you were born there. In those countries you may have visited, or even just know from pictures or hearing about them. You have some nice feelings towards. And also include those countries that you're indifferent towards, as well as those that you may have some negative feelings towards, until your loving kindness pervades this whole planet, including throughout the oceans, to the depths of the oceans, to the center of the planet, to the outermost atmosphere. May all of the living beings have happiness and its causes, be free from suffering and its causes. May there be peace everywhere. And now throughout other planets, throughout the solar system, likewise. And other solar systems throughout the galaxy. And all of the galaxies throughout the universe, until your loving kindness pervades throughout unlimited, immeasurable, infinite space. And once again, you can rejoice in this practice and rejoice in the rejoicing. Because many people are doing this practice throughout infinite space, even at this present moment. Different types of living beings. So now be present here and now to recite the dedication prayer as well. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious body, Chitta, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of Shunyata, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. So I hope you're feeling nice now, full of loving kindness. So much so that it's overflowing outwards to all of the beings around you. Like I said, it doesn't matter how you feel about these beings. If you can develop, radiate this loving kindness from your own heart, you give up the biases eventually. Remember that loving kindness, true loving kindness, and also true compassion and empathetic joy are based on equanimity. Equanimity, the line we say in the prayer, preliminary prayers before the class is, may they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. So attachment to that which you find pleasing, aversion from that which you find unpleasant. May you be free from that. And let's work towards this. We can, I know that all of us, we have the intelligence, we have the ability, and to analyze, investigate and analyze these possibilities. And I'm pretty sure that you all know that you can develop this. And it may be frustrating sometimes because we go backwards a little bit to our old habits. But remember that we've developed these habits and reinforced them over so many lifetimes. And just, I'll use the example of a knot again. The more you tie the knot up, more tightly each knot is, the more difficult it is to undo it. Sometimes it's easy to undo, different parts, but other times not so much. So we have to make effort. Sometimes we have to make a lot of effort, and other times it's quite easy. But I do like to say this, that really whether the Dharma practice, whether it's the difficulties within the Dharma practice or along the path, you could say, or whether it's easy at different times, whether this is a burden or easy, depends on our attitude. Sometimes we look at it, maybe it's a burden because we are wanting something here and now. We want the exact results that we're desiring here and now. But like I said, sometimes it takes longer, it takes a bit more effort to achieve these results, to undo these knots. And whenever you have the feeling of being disheartened, or you're feeling like the Dharma practice is a burden, just stop there at that time. Remind yourself of your true potential. Remind yourself that what you are doing is a good thing, and trust in the methods. Sometimes you may have to rethink about them. Make sure that you're understanding them. Remind yourself of your purpose, in this case, developing loving kindness, for instance. And also remind yourself, you could say reintroduce in a sense, but just actually recall to your mind, really, because you know it already, the methods that need to be put into practice. And then make sure that you're implementing the methods accurately with good intentions, and then the results will come. And the practice itself becomes easier. Even if it's difficult, it's easy. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but once again, I'll remind you, if you have a good attitude and good intentions, then the practice you have more ease with the practice. But if you're thinking too much of getting a result, I want it now, too much attachment and so forth, then it can become more of a burden. So if you find yourself falling into that, then just stop it, Don't worry about it. Don't make yourself anxious. And so, as you know, we're concluding this commentary on the Metta Sutra. And as you may have noticed, then I did longer meditations. And a couple of weeks ago, I said that I was going to do a whole class of loving kindness meditation. Maybe that we will do that, but not this week or next week. I thought actually we'd do longer and then have slightly shorter conclusions. All right. And then I'd say we'd be totally finished doing this commentary and conclusions and the like in 3 weeks' time, or on that third week. And then we'll see how we go. Maybe a week or two of answering some questions or any doubts, alleviating doubts that you may have. And then, as mentioned previously, we will start the new subject of the 8 thoughts of transformation, mind transformation, to transform the mind to be wholesome from the unwholesome and the like. Okay, so first of all, I wanted to mention today, just to bring to mind the 6 paramitas, okay? I am reposting them. And of course, that doesn't matter whether you're looking on Facebook or not. Actually, you can just go to the YouTube channel and revisit those and review those classes as well. But I'm reposting the 6 paramitas at present from the beginning, and I'll go right through. Though I still am having some problems with Facebook again. Last night, I mentioned to you last week, they stopped me from sharing to the groups. Of course, these groups actually request me to share to them. It's not as if I'm going out trying to, get myself out there or something, but actually they've requested these groups. And anyway, last night I was able to share to some, and then I got stopped again. So unable to share still. So still having problems there. Hopefully that's all it's going to be, because I did get blocked from actually even posting things about 2 years ago, I think it was. So I don't know what the cause of that is, whether their algorithms are all over the place, whether it's a malfunction within their system, or whether it may be some people with negative attitude, negative intentions, maybe reporting or something. I don't really know. But I'm not going to speculate, as we said last week, on this, because I have no control over it. So I will just continue to keep doing what I'm doing. Okay, so hopefully there's no bigger issues. And so continue to study the teachings. Like I said, at the present, go straight to my page, even if your habit is to look in those groups. Still look in those groups for other teachings, but go for my writings, my teachings, go to the page directly, and also the video as well, which I'll post later today. And the other ones I mentioned to you, the 6 parameters. Okay, so I think I posted maybe about 3 or 4 of them in this last week. And so I just wanted to mention that. So 6 parameters. Okay, the first one is generosity. Okay, so generosity is known as the door to the Dharma, as you know, among other things. You know, generosity is the antidote to give up attachment to self. The direct antidote, of course, is the wisdom, the perfection of wisdom. But generosity, I'll give you the example of a door again. Generosity helps us to open the door a little. And then, of course, the other parameters of morality and patience and effort, concentration, and then the ultimate in wisdom helps us to fully open the door. In fact, once you realize the wisdom, you realize there is no door to begin with. There's no self, and there's no opposite of that. Okay, so, but we need the Dharma now. We need to continue practice to keep opening this door. And I'm going to use the example of a house here. I've done this before. Let's say we are opening the door to the Dharma by practicing generosity. Then, actually, so now we have the idea that we want to build a house or build a building. Now, the first thing you need to build or construct is the foundations. So morality is like this. Okay, then all of the other parameters help us to put the house together with the walls and the ceilings, all of the amenities inside, and etc. Once the house is totally built and it functions as a house, and we realize it functions as a house, this, of course, is like the full practice of the 6 parameters. But now I'll go into the 3 higher trainings, of which it relates here to the Loving Kindness Sutra. Remember, the first verse out of 4 verses was related predominantly to morality. So this is like building the foundations. Then you have the meditation aspect, which is the 2nd and the 3rd verses. And this is like putting the house together. And like I just said there again, the wisdom part, which is the 4th verse, then once you've realized this and intermingled and married it with the morality and with the meditation, then the house is complete and liberation is attained at this time. Okay, so I hope you don't mind me using that example of the house. I actually use that for a few different types of teachings, but I think it's a good one for you to bring away with you to contemplate, to mentally chew on. All right, so the morality is really so important. Generosity is so important, because actually, how can you really, really be moral if you're full of yourself? Whether being full of yourself means that you're so puffed up that you become arrogant and haughty, like this, actually, or the opposite of having low self-esteem, being depressed, always being in competition with yourself and others, giving rise to things like jealousy. I mentioned arrogance already, but jealousy, envy, giving rise, like I just said, to things like depression and so forth. It's these things arise and become really quite chronic if you don't address them and overcome them. Actually arise from pride, a pride that arises from attachment to self. Okay, so this, and then this dualistic thinking that arises from this. Okay, once again, going back to the three poisons, isn't it? The ignorance, the attachment, and the aversion. Sometimes you may read that as desire, or delusion, desire, and anger or hatred even. And that's fine. All of these words, they fit with that. But I think the best words, if you just explain it or speak it once, is ignorance, attachment, and aversion. Okay, so let's have a little look at this again. This is the work for those who are skilled and peaceful, who seek the good. So they're the beings already. You want to be generous, to give up attachment, and you must have, you could say, the desire or the aspiration to be good. You must have the aspiration to be peaceful, even if we're not there yet. And then, of course, this is the type of work, this is the type of Dharma practice. You now, like I started today's talk with, whether it's easy or a burden, it depends on your attitude. So if you are ready for this practice and you help yourself to be more and more ready for this practice, then it becomes more easy. Okay. Then, of course, be able and upright, and keep your mind upright, keep your mind virtuous as much as possible. If you go the opposite, then address it. Gentle speech, skillful speech. If ever you need to communicate with others, then do it skillfully. Otherwise, it's pointless, isn't it? It could even be harmful, actually, for your own mind, first of all, but even in communication with others. And not proud, I did mention that before. May you be content and easily supported, not a pain in the butt, always wanting stuff, always not wanting stuff. Easily supported, unburdened, and with your senses calmed, not always burdened by things that you're attached to through your senses, things you have an aversion for through your senses. May you be wise, not arrogant, give up this attachment to self, and without desire for the possessions of others. So not having a covetous mind, always wanting things. May you do nothing mean, or that the wise would reprove. So if you find yourself falling back into old habits with this, just address it, calmly, peacefully. Rejoice in the fact that you noticed it, and then apply the antidotes. And be moral as much as you can. So we'll continue this, okay? So that's basically concluded the first verse, and then we'll continue on from there. If you need more explanation than I just gave you, because some of it was a bit quick and cryptic, then go back in reviewing the classes for when we actually did this a couple of months ago, I think even. So I think maybe 20 seconds to go or something. So I rejoice in sharing time with you. I rejoice in your meritorious goodness. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing you in the next class. Please stay safe and keep well over this